All right, y'all. Welcome back to another Thursday episode of Clapback Culture. We were having a bit of technical difficulties, so I do apologize for the wait. However, I don't want to keep you guys waiting any longer. Tonight, JC is unable to join us tonight, but I did finagle a special guest, and I'm going to go ahead and bring them in now. Let's get drum roll, please. Boom.
Hello, hello.
That's good. This is
Yeah.
let me introduce my guest, you guys. If you don't already know, this is my bae hubby,
Okay,
my fiance,
keep it
love of
coming.
my life,
Keep it coming.
Rodriguez, Rodney Norman. Hello, government.
Not the whole government.
Yeah.
What's up?
So
Back? How y'all doing?
you're in the building. We outside, I guess.
I'm excited. I'm excited, man. Thank you for having me. So for
Man,
the rest of this show, I'm not gonna be Bay. We're gonna do this the professional way. I finally get on the platform and I'm ready.
there we go. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Boom.
we can hear you fine.
Can you hear me? Because it's saying my mic is off.
No, we can hear you. And it
All
doesn't matter. It don't matter if your mic off or not. I can kind of already know what you're saying. I just need to see your lips moving.
All right. Well, look, we're still waiting for Cuddy to get pulled into the background, but in the essence of time, you guys, we might as well get started to talk about a few of these hot topics that we got. So
That's a lot.
Rado, I know you've watched the show. You
Yep.
know how it goes. The first
Yep.
half of the show we're going to talk about in case you missed it. So we're going to talk about some trending topics.
Okay.
Then we're going to talk about our do it for the culture section before we move into our clap back of the day. So right now we're going to talk about a few hot topics. So
Okay.
Bob Lee is the founder of Cash App, and he was found dead in an apparent stabbing attack in San Francisco. This is crazy because they don't have any suspects. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. He is a father, a husband, and a top tech executive. What are your initial thoughts on this right now?
So my initial thoughts is setup. So we've been hearing obviously over the last few months of all these top executives, all these top owners just dropping, right? And it all has to do with Bitcoin or something around these digital currencies. I just don't see I don't see the connection, or else the story wouldn't have been out. There's no clear cut evidence with a guy like this having this kind of influence and this kind of money. There's no suspects. It makes no sense. I mean, it reeks cover up. It
Mm,
reeks cover up. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, so we're not going to do that on this show. But I'm telling you, something is fishy. Downtown San Francisco was lit up. I'm sure this is not his first time down there. And for him to get stabbed up, I mean, what is it giving? So they haven't said it's a robbery. They haven't
mhm.
said it's anything. They just said this billionaire was walking downtown without security, without anything. He just walked into his death. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, I always tell you that movies set us up, right? It
Mhm.
warmed us up for what's actually happening. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of like killed this guy and just threw him downtown. But that's just me. Okay.
Right.
Hey, and I'm saying this with caution to all of the people that's watching. Don't kill me. Okay. I'm just saying we just having a show right here. Do not kill me. I'm
Well,
just
let me ask you this. So he's a 43 years young. He's a 43-year-old
who's very rich.
who's very rich. He's in an affluent neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
So, but the culture in San Francisco has been getting a little bit more turbulent, like a lot of other cities across the United States.
Absolutely.
Stabbing to me feels very personal.
It does.
So there also isn't this indication that he was being robbed. So at 2:30 in the morning in an affluent neighborhood, someone's coming up and stabbing you
No.
feels very personal.
Very personal.
There also isn't a number of wounds, right? There's not a lot of details to say like he was stabbed multiple times. So a lot of we as the public really don't have a lot of inside information on this. They're really just saying like this was a senseless tragedy. And I just don't know if I buy that. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't. I don't buy it, and it's given like, is this an attack from the 100 million people who get scammed on Cash App and he never give them a refund? I mean, I don't
I mean,
know.
but do you think people knew who he was? I mean, he looks like an
Absolutely
everyday
not.
person.
No, absolutely not. So
Right.
Cash App is definitely one of the platforms where it's too big of a person. Like we know who Bill Gates is, but this wasn't somebody who was ever on the forefront, like really, saying who he is, or really,
It's not an
talking
Elon
about.
Musk,
He's
right?
not that. It's not that. It's not giving Elon Musk at all. It's definitely not. You look real pretty, by the way.
Oh, thank
but,
you. I mean,
but I
are
feel
you they or not?
I feel
Um,
sorry for him though, because like I said, it's an unfortunate situation. But it's crazy because incidents like this have been getting swept under the rug for the last couple of years. I mean, you have billionaires who have been getting killed, and all of a sudden it's just swept under the rug.
so
I'm
you think
sure
this
this
is
will be
a
swept
lot
under the rug.
like the Bitcoin guys that are kind of
Absolutely,
okay.
absolutely. They don't give a lot of details, but they do talk about a connection to a Bitcoin that he invested in. And I mean, all these things are just connected, and it's just sad. Somebody is coming for our funds.
Interesting, interesting,
Absolutely.
interesting. Well, in the interest of time, we'll move on from this subject, but I did hear that there is a new digital currency coming out or a new digital way to receive money called
Absolutely.
Fed Now. So we'll come back next week and we'll talk about that. But I want to bring this other story to you. This is a trippy story. I love to pull up into the shade room, you guys. It
No,
gives you a lot of just interesting, crazy
a
information,
lot of mess. A lot of
a
mess.
lot of mess. And I don't know if you're looking in the comments, but we do have a few comments. So Boosie, we're glad to see you on the show. Make sure you guys tap in. I want to hear your guys' comments on this next subject. So there's a 68-year-old Spanish actress. She's Spanish, like from Spain. And she reveals that there was a baby born through surrogacy that was fathered by her late son. Okay, I know that was a lot of information, so I'm going to tell you. So she sat down and did a recent interview with Hola magazine. And the child was born in Miami. So technically, the baby is an American citizen. And it's also technically her granddaughter. Well, her son passed away back in 2020 from cancer. Rest in peace to her son,
Definitely.
Alessandro, who died. Like I said, he died at the age of 27 years young, so very young. And this actress, the mother says, that a part of her son's last will and testament was that he really wanted a child. So, in the interest of making sure that she honored his will, they took his sperm and conceived a baby through surrogacy, and then boom, you have this little baby girl. So here's the firestorm. Number one, people are trying to understand, why would a grandmother of that age
Yes.
feel the need to have this child come into the world with no parents, or only a grandparent only? And then secondly, surrogacy is illegal in the country of Spain. And so that culture is in an uproar, saying, yeah, we know that you did it in America, but you're bringing the baby home to Spain, and we're not with that. Rodney, what are your thoughts on this? I'm interested to know.
I'm not sure if you're ready for my thoughts on this. My first thoughts is she have too much damn money. She got too much money, and you know what her race is without even understanding or seeing who her race is. So this is the first time in history that a person had a grandbaby. Not a baby, but a grandbaby. So she had a child and skipped generations. So I got so many questions that I'm sure none of us can answer, right? The first one is, how in the world did she get sperm from her son? The
Right.
second thing is, why are you committing incest? The third thing is, lady, what are you doing? This is not normal. So now you're going to raise a child. We not understand that this child going to have deformities for one, And then two, who's going to raise this child? So you're telling me when this child becomes 18, she's going to be what? Damn near 80?
Yeah,
Like,
almost 90.
listen, man, the world is getting out of control. Everyone's just trying stuff. I'm sorry, I love technology, but we're too far ahead. We need to slow down.
So let me correct your comments a little bit. One, it's not incest because she did not have the baby. Someone else had a baby.
No, I cannot agree with that. Technically, it is her eggs with her son.
No, it's not her egg.
So what is it?
It's the egg of the surrogate. So it would be like she hired someone, the surrogate.
Okay.
And then gave the sperm to that woman to have the baby. But the surrogate doesn't have anything to do with the baby. They're just a paid body vessel to have the baby.
Still, she still got too much money. She paid for a grandbaby and neither.
Now that is true.
That's long money. That's long money.
I feel so.
When you say it like that, now it's a flex. I look at it as kind of like a flex.
I still think that it's very selfish, and I'll say why. I am the mother of a son, and I understand. And I did a deep dive and looked all through her Instagram, and I can tell that she had a very loving relationship with her son. It seems like that was her only child. He was very young to pass away from something like that, and I think in the grieving process, she did something very dramatic. And conceived a child and placed a child into the world. But I call it selfish because of this. This child is now being raised with no parents, right? Absolutely. And she's at an age where she's not going to live long enough to be able to help raise and cultivate this little girl. You know what I'm saying? So by the time she's 21, I mean, and don't get me wrong, 68, sis is looking good. Okay, she's looking grand. We got a picture.
Can we pull that up? Because I would love to see what this.
We're gonna pull it up. Boom! There we
go. Okay.
Sis looks good. You know what I'm saying? She's looking good. She's healthy. She's in a loving, committed relationship with a man. She's quite normal aside from this situation. However, it's still very selfish because you're close to 70 years old. By the time the baby is 30, you'll be 100. You're not even going to likely be living on this earth. And I think it's a disappointment because I say that without knowing the full construct of the family dynamic, but this child is being born into a world with no parents. And for her to selfishly do that, to have a piece of her son for the last couple of years of her life, I think it's just very selfish.
Two things again. She got too much time and too much money. Too much time and too much money. She done created a new family, a new strand on her own. And look at her. To be 68, she look amazing, but it reeks money all over. She got money lotion on.
All right. There's another story. Cuddy, let me know are we good? Are we good on videos right now? Can we shoot to some videos? Let's see if we can do that. Perfect. We do got some videos. So there is a video I want to play for you guys. There is a story that took over social media late last week. And it actually was in a lot of DMV hood news. Okay. And the conversation was that there was a shooting at Dulles Mall.
Oh, I heard about this. Yep, I heard about this.
There was a shooting at Dulles Mall. And before pictures and everything was revealed, social media was going off because they were like, oh, that's why, everybody in Southeast and DC, now that they got train access to Dulles, they shooting up the mall, right?
And that was a white man, by the way. Wasn't a black man.
Well, and not only that, it was all for a YouTube prank. So apparently a YouTuber was in the mall doing pranks. And this guy did not like what he was doing. Let's go ahead and watch the video and we'll come back. We'll talk about it.
Let's see.
After all of that, today our Matthew Torres spoke to the victim's family. And Matthew, did they say what may have caused all of this?
Well, Leslie, to be clear, this is still under investigation by the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office. But according to the victim's family, he was creating some sort of a prank video for his YouTube page and interacting with the suspect when he was shot. Court documents identified the victim as Tanner Cook. Tonight, his father telling me that he is expected to make a full recovery.
It's just like surreal. I couldn't believe it.
But tonight, Jeremy Cook says despite what happened to his son, he is slowly recovering in the ICU. It's his faith in God guiding the family through this difficult journey.
And I believe that God saved my son's life, and that he could have very easily died, and that's not the outcome, and that God has plans for my son.
21-year-old Tanner Cook was critically shot in the stomach inside Dulles Town Center Sunday. Witnesses capturing deputies arresting the suspect, 31-year-old Alan Coley. The gunfire causing customers to run and hide.
The victims are more than just the people who were directly involved in the incident. There are the people who will have secondary trauma from this, who may never walk back in this mall again.
Coley is facing 3 serious charges, including aggravated malicious wounding. Cook is a content creator for the YouTube page Classified Goons. His father saying they were making another video leading up to the shooting.
And they were making a video in the mall and trying to have fun with people, and this guy wasn't having fun, and there was a phone that was around him, and they were interviewing him, were talking to him, and he didn't like it and pulled the gun out and shot my son.
According to the family, there is video of what happened, but that video is now evidence. This father says despite what Coley is accused of doing, he doesn't hold bitterness or anger towards him.
We need healing. We need to come together.
I love parents, because parents don't never see nothing wrong with their kids.
Stop playing. Stop playing with people. You know what I'm saying? Stop playing with grown men when grown men are not playing. Now, did he take it too far with actually shooting them? In my opinion, I would say yes. It's funny because you heard the woman on there talking about trauma and how people will have the secondary trauma, but what she failed to mention was that, how do you know this man who shot him didn't already have his trauma? We are dealing in a very sensitive age where no one's playing. You cannot be comfortable in big spaces, malls, somebody look over your shoulder. Everyone is on alert. Everyone is on panic. You cannot be running up on people with your phone trying to prank nobody and think it's a game. It's not a game to everybody. It is not a game. And this is a clear example as to why you can't do that. I mean, I be watching this stuff now, you know I'm goofy. So I watch a lot of these pranksters and I get on YouTube and I laugh, but it's not always funny. I just seen people catch heart attacks and everything from this stuff, man. You can't be playing with everybody like this. And look at that white man. That white man look crazy. I'm gonna let you give your take on it, Lucy, but I'm telling you, had it would have been a black man, the storyline would have been totally different. For one, let's point out what the name of his YouTube channel is. Classified Goons. Imagine what that looked like with a black face. Oh my goodness. Are we even gonna go there? So that's number one. Number two, let it would have been a black man that shot that guy. Oh my God. For one, I wouldn't have been walked out of in handcuffs. I've been walked out of there with a black bag on the stretcher. That's number one. And then number three or number four and number five, if this was a black person, it would just all been bad. And it would have been on every news station, and our father and mother would not have been able to talk. But go ahead.
I think it's, I'm listening to the dad, right? And the dad is just, obviously he's just certainly taking up for his son. And he's like, wow, I'm not totally proud of everything that he does on this YouTube channel. It's all in good fun. And, people should laugh about that. But you're playing a very dangerous game in America right now, where gun reform laws are having lawmakers even lose their job for trying to crack down on this kind of stuff. You don't know where people's headspace is at nowadays. And so for me, I wouldn't be playing with the public. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he literally dodged a bullet like this. He was shot multiple times in the stomach. He had to get multiple emergency surgeries. He's now out of the ICU. And he even made a decision to do an interview over the phone with the news media. And to that, I say, wow, you literally almost lost your life and you're still looking and kind of chasing this clout. That alone is very toxic. Is this guy going to use this video? Because the police took the footage and are holding it as evidence. Are you going to use this video and continue to try to get clout after it? I think he is. I think he's not going to learn his lesson in this situation to say, find something better to do. So you can have a career in media, you can have a career in being creative. And a lot of people have these really funny prank videos, but when you see things escalating, you do have to reel it back. And to your point, like, you and I sit back and we watch these videos and we laugh, but at what point is someone going to really point out the danger in that? Because some people just ain't playing, you know what I'm saying? It's not given that. So, I think the dad needs to have a realistic conversation with his son. And I hope that he doesn't go back to creating these stupid videos and putting himself back in harm's way, because this could essentially repeat itself.
You said some people not. You said some people not playing. You could say it again. You cannot be running up on no people. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. They're going to use this for clout. They're going to use this to get his YouTube views up and more subscribers. And he's going to continue to do this thing again. If it was my son, this would have been his last prank.
Period.
Period.
Cairo, don't start no stuff. Rio, don't start no stuff. Period. All right. Well, look, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to get to know Rodney a little bit more. It'll be 1 year home. And so we're going to have a little conversation about everything that you've been up to. Stay tuned. You're watching Clapback Culture.
What's up, everybody? You know, me and Besa, my girl, we had to pull up to Market Street Shoes once again, y'all.
And you know, we do this every season. We have to get the new shoes, the new boots, and this time I even got a coat.
Yeah, no, you did walk in without a coat.
I'm
glad you found one. But their boots were on point.
Yes, the boots, the bags. I even grabbed a flannel.
Yeah, you did. You know, and I was able to get some hats and everything. I was really impressed.
And you know, I was impressed because, of course, I got those white boots that you guys see me wearing everywhere these days.
Yeah, no, I look at your white boots and I'm like, darn it, they only had one pair. Me and Basa wear the same size. Of course, every time we walk out with several bags in hand.
Several bags and sometimes even a backpack, you guys. Make sure you check out Market Street Shoes.
Yeah, please check them out. Where they go, Basa?
Ooh, 2232 Northwest Market Street, Seattle, Washington.
All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back to Clapback Culture. I'm your host, Julia Jessie, and today I have a special guest, you guys, who's co-hosting with me, the love of my life, who's also my best friend, my partner in crime, no pun intended, Rado. And today I want to ask him a little bit of questions because we're approaching his 1 year anniversary of being home. So Rodney, come on back. And I just want to chop it up with you a little bit. It's interesting because we always talked about me getting guests on the show and kind of like how I wanted to do the guest kind of segments. And you're my first guest. So we're going to do a little bit of interviewing. So we're approaching a really pivotal anniversary for you. Obviously something that I'm certainly excited about. I would assume that you're very excited about it as well. Talk to the viewers a little bit about your journey and the 1 year anniversary and just kind of like what this means to you.
So it means a lot. It's funny because I really wasn't prepared to really answer this or even like kind of think about it, right? But I can say that I hit the ground running. For one, I'm blessed, very blessed. I've been fortunate to accomplish so many things over this last year, right? Cultivating a great relationship with us family, and also with having our phenomenal and great baby boy who was a Christmas baby. Along the way, I've also, obtained a career. My favorite saying is always, without a vision, the people should perish. And I finally figured out what my vision is, and that's being out here helping these at-risk youth, and it's been phenomenal. It's been a great thing. Currently I work for Cure the Streets, organization that basically mediates conflict all over Washington D.C., primarily in Ward 8, and I just enjoy it because it goes tenfold. It's one thing to just come in and mediate conflicts or squash beefs. but we're also able to pour into these young people so that they don't make the same mistakes that some of us made. And that's my main objective. When you get behind that wall and you make mistakes, it's no help there. It's very, very easy to get in, and it's the hardest thing in the world to get out. And I've learned that. So now I have dedicated my entire life to making sure that our youth who are troubled, who are puzzled, and who really don't understand life, to kind of incorporate and help them with their vision so that they can be successful along the way. And I do it every day. And I've juggled it. I made a promise to you, who was also the love of my life, Miss Julia Jessie, and that was to slow down. And when I came home, it might have seemed very fast for people, but for me, it's the slowest pace that I've ever went, in my life. I've done everything the right way, and I'm gonna continue to do everything the right way. But April 12th, which is my actual 1 year anniversary, I am going to turn it up phenomenally. As far as discipline wise, continuing to build our life and our vision, and continue to go that route. There are changes in life, but understanding how to stay level headed during the storm is the most important. I read this quote, and it says that we have to understand the seasons that we're in. We have to understand that. A lot of times we panic when there's a storm, but if we understand that at the end of that storm and what that rain does to that soil, if we understand what the finished product is once we get out of our storm, then we can, really understand how things will flourish in life. And that's just how I am. I kind of understand that sometimes it's a storm, but after that storm, it has to be a calm. If you can really believe that there are seasons to life, the same way that there are seasons, in the world as far as climate, then you'll understand that you will get your summer days, but you will get your stormy nights.
Mm. I think I saw that on your Instagram, your tag today, and I thought that was pretty poignant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Put that. So, what say you to somebody who's watching? And for those that don't know, let me clarify. Rodney is just returning home. He had a 10-year prison sentence. He fortunately served 5 of those 10 years in federal prison. He's now been home for 1 year, coming up on April the 12th. And, you have this interesting dichotomy. And on one hand, I feel like the year before your incarceration, I remember making this post, and it was like, here you are turning, 30, and you've beat all the odds. You came out the hood, you graduated high school, you went to college and graduated from college,
Mhm.
you take care of your kids, like you've totally beat all the stereotypes, and you've never been to jail. This is your first offense, and you got all of this time. For those who kind of don't understand how someone like you, who can kind of beat these odds every single time, what do you say to them when they're out in community and like doing this work, when they're thinking about hiring returning citizens, when they think about hiring people who do have a criminal past? What do you how would you tell them to kind of interface with the returning citizen population, particularly someone like you, or even individuals who may have a more of a troubled past? How would you say life is different, your viewpoint is different, your perspective is different, and how can they kind of tap into that a little bit?
Well, my advice to them would be to just be fully transparent. One of the things in which I'm able to go to sleep every day in peace and wake up in peace is because I've learned to be transparent. I've learned to love who I am, and I've learned to own up to my mistakes. I don't believe you could be a man unless you own up to your mistakes, right? So excuses are for the weak. This world needs results. I stand on, why I went to prison and I was cutting corners. And I tell people you got to do everything the right way. You can't cut corners because eventually it'll catch up to you. I made those mistakes, and as a result, I had to serve the time. I didn't hide from it. I don't feel shame from it. It's a part of my past, and now all I can do is look towards the future. My advice to all young people is to, man, say that you can get it right now. And
Mm.
sometimes people have to understand you got to start today. There are so many people from my past who I tell you have to meet me today, because I'm not the same Rodney that I was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, or 1 year ago. And if you love that Rodney, thank you. But even today, now I'm a more mature man. I have more life experiences under my belt, and of course, every day I want to get better and better and better. So I have already given the public apology to anyone that I've offended in any kind of way. But now moving forward, I want you to meet Rodney, the 36-year-old man that's accountable for everything in his life. And I want it to be a pleasure to meet you there, right?
Mm.
And I give that advice to people because people will always blame you for their failures. And what I mean by that is that people will always portray their failures onto you, or have you to blame for their mistakes. My mistakes are my mistakes, your mistakes are your mistakes, but we all have access till tomorrow, and tomorrow can be a new day no matter what you've done today. What you've done today, as we know that the things that we do affect our future, it still doesn't matter. When I go out here, I'm myself. When I go out here in these streets, when I meet my young people, I tell them I love them. I tell them they can be anything they want to be, and I encourage them. You know, what I've seen is that our young brown and black boys, in which I serve, what I see is that they are the most gifted. They are special. They have the most energy. They are excited. They have so much wisdom, but they don't have the knowledge base as to how to get rich, or the knowledge base on how to open a business, or the knowledge base on how to do anything productive other than what they see in their environment, right?
Mhm.
So what I do is try to educate them. I try to bring resources to them to let them know that there is another way. While most people are a product of their environment, I try to let them see outside of their environment. Another one of my favorite quotes is saying that you can't attain something unless you see it, right? So a lot of our young people never been outside of their neighborhoods. I try my best to put them, outside of the neighborhoods, or at least put their mind outside of the neighborhood so that they can grow.
Mm. Y'all see why I'm about to marry this man. So 1 year,
Mhm.
what does it look like moving forward? You talked about the future. And I think that's
Oh,
very powerful. And that,
absolutely.
every day you wake up and you have tomorrow. So what does tomorrow look like for you? What does the future
So
hold for you next?
so I got goals. I want to be rich. I want to be rich the right way for my family. I want to be rich to be able to afford, those that come behind me a better life. The work that I do, you can't get rich doing that work. You have to be rich at heart to be able to give that to your community, and I am that. But business wise, I have to continue to build our construction company. I have to keep, doing my investments, and I won't share all of those online, because usually when a person, gets your idea, they take it and run. So let me brand things a little bit, and then I'll give y'all some of that sauce, right? Um, but looking forward, in order for me to be successful, right, and I have to be successful in order for you and the rest of our family to be successful. For one, I have to be accountable. I have to be fearless, and I have to be able to stand in who I am. I have to be able to love myself so I can love you and the rest of our family. And it's a day-to-day task, right? It's not hard, but you have to be focused, and you have to understand that this world can beat you up. You have to have someone to come home to be able to kind of unravel those things so that you can be prepared to go back into this world, right? Because this world is just not always the most
Not,
loving,
it's
right?
not always friendly.
It's not always friendly. So you have to be able to understand that, so you can know, when you're going into that fire. If you know that you're walking into that fire, and you and you could be prepared to walk into that fire, you don't get burned as much. You know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like you had this kind of insight perspective before incarceration?
Yes, absolutely. So I felt like I did, but still I cut corners and I wasn't as accountable. And for those reasons, they tore me out the frame. Yeah, I'll just be real. They tore me out the frame. And what happened was that I was in a dark place. As you know, when I was arrested, I lost everything. Our relationship was on the rocks. Lost the house, cars, money. You just lose everything. And then you have to reinvent, reset, and really see who really care. And that was the first time I really seen that a lot of people didn't care. And my feelings was hurt for so many years because so many people that I took care of, I felt forgot about me, and I felt like, kind of turned their back on me. A lot of people in the case that I love turned their back on me by cooperating and things of that nature. So it showed me something, but it didn't spoil me. Through the grace of God, I was still able to forgive everybody. And the way that I got through it was understanding that people are who they are. And you can't change those people no matter what I've done for them. I have to say, that was my gift. I love you. And I have to move forward, because if you allow yourself to soak in anger and regret, then you'll never be able to grow. You'll never be able to grow. And I refuse not to be able to grow. So when I see people, it's the same thing. I love them. I feel like that's God's gift. He's given me a heart to be able to love and be able to get through things that other people can't get through. And my mind is set on success, and I'm not going to allow anyone to stop that. I'm not going to allow any bad day, any emotional day, any attack from the spirit or the actual person or the government. Any attack, I take it all in, I'll breathe, and I'll smile. And that's how I get through.
Well, thank you, Rodney. Well, we appreciate you coming on our show. Of course, we want you to hang in with us a little bit longer because we got some clapbacks to do. All right.
Let's do it. You know what? I had to kind of get a little serious. You want to talk about the life and all that, but let's get
we want to get to know you. We'll bring you. Look, it's a joyous occasion, and it's important for us to have some of those deep moments so people can understand your perspective.
I'm back.
We outside.
Real. No,
all right. We'll definitely have to have you back to talk about what we're doing in celebration of the 1 year. It's going to be a turn up for sure. Nothing but love and laughs. But listen, instead of going to break, we're going to jump right into this. So the NCAA women's basketball has been on the mouths of everyone recently, including First Lady Jill Biden, who kind of put her foot in her mouth. Let's take a look.
Did First Lady Jill Biden get so excited about the women's basketball championship game, she put her foot in her mouth? As she celebrated LSU's victory over Iowa, Dr. Jill suggested both teams come to the White House.
So I know we'll have the champions come to the White House. We always do. So, we'll have LSU come. But you know what? I'm going to tell Joe, I think Iowa should come too, because they played such a good game.
Problem is, that's never been done before. And no matter her intention, the idea landed with a giant thud.
Let's keep tradition, which is a special visit for the winner. Because you won.
I don't know. But when the girl, I'm saying bring all the women.
Listen, you can't invite both to the White House, can you? No!
LSU star player Angel Reese tweeted a joke. Looks like the First Lady heard the boos. Today she's walking back on the concept of inviting the losing team as well as the winners. She looks forward to celebrating the LSU Tigers on their championship win at the White House.
Joe Biden. Well, clearly she wasn't trying to be malicious, but here's the thing with that. One, here's what I hate about that. Man. When it comes to women's sports, it's looked at like, oh, all the girls can be involved. But if it were men who won the championship, that wouldn't even have been a thought. And, First Lady Biden went to the game. She was super amped up about it. I think they said something like 12 million people were watching it. It's the highest viewed college basketball game amongst men and women's sports that was viewed on ESPN. The highest rated show for women. The game was spectacular. The girls balled out. It was very competitive all the way up into the end. And before I bring it back to you for comment, I want to add one more thing in there.
Already.
So, of course, Angela Reese, who has a bit of an edge, she plays for LSU, was going against Caitlin Clark, who is known as the Steph Curry in women's basketball right now. Hell of a player.
And also the golden white child. Keep going.
So these two went head to head. LSU took the championship, and she hit her with the John Cena. Let's take a look, and we'll come back and we'll add that to this combination of story.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
LSU has captured. LSU has captured. LSU has captured. LSU has captured its very first national championship.
Just days after their schools went head-to-head in the most watched women's college basketball game ever, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark weighing in on this heavily debated split screen at the center of the controversy. Clark doing the so-called "you can't see me" move when Iowa beat Louisville, punching their card to the Final Four. The Iowa standout was celebrated for the move, even called the Queen of Clapbacks. Reese doing the exact same move towards Clark in the national championship game.
And Angel Reese knows a ring is coming.
But only Reese was heavily criticized, called everything from classless to worse, sparking heated conversations this week.
When Caitlin did it, people were celebrating it. But then the second a sister stepped up and threw it back in her face, now you got half the basketball world saying, well, you know what, that's not the classiest thing to do.
When Caitlin Clark did this John Cena, it was considered swag. 48 hours later, Angel...
All right, so there's so much to talk about.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. You always want to be politically correct, and you always want to say things the right way. That's not me, babe. This is white and black. Okay, before we even talked about the John Cena, I didn't even know that's what that was called. But Caitlin Clark has always been seen as the white golden child. And yes, she's nice. I like her game. But the reason why Jill Biden wanted to bring her to the White House because she's seen her poor, distressed little white girl get beat. Guess what? If it was LSU and South Carolina, I bet she wouldn't have said that. But Iowa, all-white team, and I hate to say it like this, but I'm just being real. Because if you see that, and we're gonna get to the second part of the segment with the whole thing, but even if you see that, it's all a white and black thing. When Caitlin first did this after the game to a black school, Louisville, and did this to them, no one cared. They praised her. But when she lost and her feelings was hurt, and Angela Reese did this, the same thing, now we got a thug. They continue to label black people as aggressive. They continue to label us as thugs. They continue to label us as irate, and they continue to push that narrative over the media streams. They have done it for years, and they will continue to do it. It has shown Jill Biden does not want no black girls that she look at in that way to the White House. She wanted Caitlin Clark. She was there screaming, cheering, and behind the scenes, she had on a red, white, and blue hat with a Caitlin Clark jersey the whole championship, praying that sweet young white woman would come up there. And I'm sorry to say it, but I'm just being real with you. It shows.
So she was wearing her jersey?
I just made that up to make.
Oh, okay. I was like, dang.
I mean, it's in support, and I mean, it's crazy, y'all, because I posted this thing on my story today. And if you in the locker room, they show Iowa their pregame warm up, and pregame everybody kind of get hyped, and they were playing like some country music that was really soft. And then you go to LSU and they playing Boosie Badass and they turn. You know what I'm saying? So the culture is different, and why the culture is different, that shows. When we talking about the presidency, and you talking about Jill, she's not excited that someone came and put their hand in the face of her precious young Caitlin Clark. No, let's stop it. I'm not here for any of it. Angela Reese is a great young lady from Baltimore. LSU is a phenomenal team. Iowa, my hats go off to you. But this whole she bullied her, she was classless. Let's stop it. Because
I really love how Caitlin responded in defense of Angela Reese, though. She came out and said, listen, guys, no one should be criticizing Angela Reese. Like, we do a lot of smack talking in basketball. It's not that serious, right? And you and I had this conversation offline. If this had been men's basketball, no, it wouldn't have been. First of all, it wouldn't have been a black and white issue, and it wouldn't have been an issue of class or competitiveness, right?
And that's not the first time Caitlyn did that. Not to cut you off, but
no, that's her thing. Yeah, that's her thing. Yeah. So, and Angela Reese, you know, I'm glad that she's as tough as she is, because she
stood up for all the other black women that she did that to all through the damn season, because she was knocking them off.
Yep.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and she said, and she doubled down on that, and she was like, I couldn't wait to hit her with that.
No way.
Like, I couldn't wait to hit her with the John Cena.
LSU, their first championship, they deserve it.
It's their first championship in 2 years, I think ever. And they had a losing season over the last 2 years. I think they said like they only won 9 games last season. So these are also 20-year-old athletes. They're young. You know what I'm saying? They're young. They're super competitive. The sport should include some trash talking. I think people who have such harsh criticism for that need to just relax. It's not that serious. And I also think it was interesting in this women's basketball to see the two cultures kind of collide, because the two teams were totally different.
Yeah, very much so.
And diversity should be celebrated more than it should be pitted against each other, right? Because I thought it was really cute that someone put together the 2 TikToks to show like what LSU was doing in the locker room versus what Iowa was doing in the locker room. And no matter what, it was a great game. And the 2 teams that got there deserve to be in the championship. And, you know, I'm not gonna overly criticize First Lady Biden. But what I am gonna say is that her natural inclination, while wasn't malicious, it goes to show you the thought process of a traditional white woman in America who's like, oh, well, everyone can just go. Instead of really taking a moment to say, no, these are the champions. If Iowa had won,
please, I was waiting for you to say that. If Iowa would have won,
it would have been like, oh, let's invite LSU. It wasn't giving that.
It was never giving that.
And it won't give that. And I just think it's important it should not be lost on us that we don't need to coddle losers, right? LSU won the game fair and square. They're champions. And I love that Angela Reese decided that she was strongly clapped back and said, absolutely not. What a joke. And then said, we're not going, period.
And then
said, we're gonna come. So I'm sure they talked her off the ledge. But listen, LSU girls were like,
what'd she say she was going?
Michelle Obama house.
Thank you.
You
know, hey, Barack, get back in office, man. We miss you, Slim. No, for real.
I'll say this: LSU. I mean, the Biden administration better roll out that red carpet for them LSU girls, and Lady Biden better pull Miss Reese to the side and apologize to her, because even though that wasn't her intention, it still was very hurtful in a season that only LSU should be celebrated, period.
Honestly, I don't see that happening. Out of all the first ladies that I've really seen, like really just doing advocacy work in the community and stuff like that, this is my first time ever even hearing or seeing Jill Biden. So no,
it's not my first time seeing her. It's just, she was clueless in how things are done. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
it's never been done to invite losers to. Why would you invite the losers to the White House? It's not giving that. I think we should just invite everyone. No, we shouldn't invite everyone. Then it's not special if we invite everyone. It's not special. And so I'm glad they walked that back. But again, I don't think she was being malicious. So I'm not gonna dog her out. But Angela Reese she's great. She's great for doing that. But listen, you guys, that's our show tonight. We're gonna. That's it.
I wanted some more.
I know. Well, we're out of time. That's the thing.
Okay. Well, it was a pleasure being on the show with you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm finally on Clapback.
Well, listen, when you're not on Clapback Culture, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Roddo007. That's RODDOE007. Or you guys can catch me on Facebook at the same tag, Roddo007. TikTok, Roddo007. That's me. I love y'all. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on this show. We hope to have you soon. I'm your host, guys, Jules Jessie. You guys know where to find me. Instagram and Twitter at Treasure of JULES. You know what it is. Please pull up and follow me. Slide into my DMs. Let me know what you want to talk about for next week. Until then, I'll see you next week.
Let's go.